Batman's greatest weapon has always been his towering intellect. It's his strategic thinking that has led to all of his victories, and it is the reason that he is such a feared opponent. But no matter how good a chess player you are, you can still lose a game, and such is the case with Batman. He has been outsmarted and outmaneuvered on occasion, which is fair. After all, some of his enemies are among the smartest people on Earth, especially in terms of strategic warfare. And so we're going to go over 5 times that villains have managed to outsmart Batman. The Clock King. Now, the Clock King is a methodical thinker who does actually feel emotion, even though it seems like he doesn't, because he pushes emotions aside in order to focus on the problem from a purely analytical point of view. And because of this, he is able to plan a strategy that goes, well, like clockwork. It's the reason for his name, after all. Now, admittedly, Batman did manage to foil the Clock King's main plan, but the Clock King had actually planned for this and had a perfect exit strategy in place, so he easily escaped.
The 9:15 is always 6 minutes early.
And of course, getting caught was actually part of Clock King's plan all along. He wanted Batman to go there and find him, because then he would go look for evidence, which obviously he had left. So Batman would find his watch, which he would then be able to trace back to him and go to his house and find his plans there. All of which was to make Batman feel like he was outthinking the Clock King, but all the while he was being led into a trap, which is how Batman ends up locked up inside a bank vault with the oxygen being siphoned out.
The process will take 15 minutes, which is exactly 17 minutes less than the time it would take you to burn through the door with that oxyacetylene torch of yours.
Now, of course, Batman does manage to escape at the last minute. Obviously, they're not going to kill him in the show. But what happens next is a bit odd. Basically, through a complete shot in the dark, he finds the Clock King's actual location. Batman basically just headed towards the city's big clock, which I guess isn't a complete shot in the dark, to be fair, but there was no real evidence he'd be there. I mean, at best, this is an educated guess, and really, Batman just got lucky. And even though Batman did find him there and the two did fight, the Clock King still managed to escape without a trace. And the Clock King's planning abilities were so good that even Amanda Waller respected them, and she recognised the true value the Clock King had, which is why she added him to Task Force X, which no one calls the Suicide Squad in this universe. I mean, it was intended for kids to watch after all. Of course, Amanda knows that the Clock King is not a fighter, he doesn't belong on the front lines at all, but rather behind them, organising everyone. And it's why he was able to come up with a plan to infiltrate the Justice League's headquarters and then steal a powerful magical weapon from under their noses.
Unlike heaven, this tower has a duty schedule, one I've studied thoroughly. I've scheduled your visit for when they're at their weakest.
Which is insanely impressive, because the base is in space, which means just getting inside it is something of a minor miracle. But even then, you're still up against godlike beings. And yet the Clock King managed to come out of a way to both get there and outmaneuver the enemy once they're inside. Which means he actually outsmarted both Batman, Mr. Terrific, and the Atom, as they designed the security protocols of the Watchtower, and they are 3 of the smartest people on the planet. In fact, some people actually say that Mr. Terrific is the smartest person on the planet. Talia al Ghul. Now, there's a part in The Art of War that makes the very true point that if you know your enemy as well as you know yourself, then you need not fear the perils of battle. And it comes as no surprise that the daughter of Ra's al Ghul would know that so well. And since she knows Batman in every way possible, she is able to manipulate him and the Bat family to perfection in the film Batman Bad Blood. Now, Talia knows that Batman is a great threat, but perhaps his greatest weapon is actually his family. His allies united are very, very dangerous, but they're also not that close, and she uses that information to outsmart him. Now, since she knows that Batman often fights solitarily and has been known to go off the grid for weeks on end, and in some cases months on end, and he does this without notifying anyone, he just disappears at a moment's notice, and so she uses this against him. She lures Batman into a trap with supervillains and then takes him off of the board, knowing that no one will suspect he is missing because he often disappears. And it works to perfection. His allies don't know that he's been captured due to the fact that he often doesn't communicate with them, and so they don't attempt to rescue. At least not right away. I mean, obviously they do eventually work out that he's missing. They're not idiots after all.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But he's never been gone this long without notifying me in some way.
And then of course they go looking for him, and naturally they find him. And Talia knew all along this would happen, of course, but she was just playing for time. And when they do find Batman, she lets them take him. Now they think that they have beaten her, managed to get Bruce Wayne away from her just in the nick of time and foiled her plans. But in truth, this is what she wanted all along. as she has brainwashed Batman and is using him as a Trojan horse to divide the Bat family while she carries out her plan.
I'm proud to be a part of your team. We can handle this on our own. But from here on, it's only family.
And Talia has planned all of this from the very beginning, and no one realised, as she let them think they were outsmarting her. And since everyone likes to think they're the smartest person in the room, they don't really question this too much. After all, the best lies are the ones that make people feel special, as it makes them more inclined to believe them. Now, with all that being said, in the 11th hour, the Bat family do realise that something is up, and they do rally to stop Talia. But still, she played them all perfectly. She just got unlucky in the final phase of her plan. And Batman himself never worked out any of the plan. He was being played like a fiddle the entire time. So, not exactly his proudest moment. And it does need to be said that it wasn't just the Bat family that beat Talia. In fact, in many respects, she beat herself. Simply put, her allies were no match for the Bat family in a fight, and most of them had no actual loyalty to her. They were either mercenaries or working for her under the threat of death, which means half of them were just waiting for the right moment to take Talia out. And considering how badly she treated all of them, well, it's hard to blame them. Bane. Now, on the outside, Bane looks like a big muscle head, but that's just a trope of the media. In reality, just because someone has muscles, it doesn't automatically mean they're an idiot. And as all true Batman fans know, Bane represents this perfectly, as he is not only a great hand-to-hand fighter with immense strength, but also a tactical genius, and one of Batman's most intelligent and dangerous foes. And Bane has managed to outsmart Batman on several occasions. Perhaps the most famous one is in the Nightfall comic arc, when he observed Batman for months, learning all of his strengths and weaknesses. And he did this so much that when he observed Bruce Wayne for just a few moments, he was immediately able to recognise that he was Batman, because he saw that his movements were the same as Batman's. That's how much he'd been watching him. And this is actually how he worked out what Batman's real identity is. And this is also shown in the video game Arkham Origins, where he recognises Bruce Wayne and Batman's voices are both the same. And he then used this information to attack the Batcave, critically injure Alfred, all of which he did to demoralise and manipulate Batman, which actually worked pretty well.
I can't do it. I can't stop them.
No, you can't. Not on your own.
Now, in the comics, Bane also used a strategy to wear down and then beat Batman. He did this by freeing Arkham inmates and sending all of Gotham's villains against him, forcing Batman to fight them night after night while he was on patrol, until Batman was so worn down that when Bane attacked him, he wasn't able to handle him at all, and Bane snapped his spine in half. And Bane did all of this without Batman ever even realising that it was him doing it, that he was pulling all the strings from the shadows. At least not until Bane revealed himself at the end anyway. And this outmanoeuvring was also shown in the Dark Knight Rises film, although in that version Bane outsmarts Batman simply by luring him into a trap, using Catwoman to bring him into Bane's arena, where he used his strength and skills to defeat Batman in a one-on-one fight. And then once again, he snaps his spine in half.
I was wondering what would break first. Your spirit or your body?
He also once defeated Batman by teaming up with Batman's resurrected father. It's a very long story, but his father does come back from the dead, and it turns out that he's, well, kind of evil. Basically, he does come back from the dead for a while, and he wants Batman to stop being Batman and start being Bruce Wayne. And his solution to this is to team up with Bane, kidnap Alfred as a hostage, and force both Batman and the Bat family out of Gotham, or else they'll kill him, thus allowing them to take over Gotham City. And although it seems like quite a simple plan, it's actually quite clever in a way. You see, the Bat family do have arguments within their little family, but every single one of them loves Alfred. In fact, Alfred is easily the most loved one in the group. And while they obviously would rescue any of them if they were kidnapped, him especially has a place in their hearts, so it's quite wise of them to take him. And though I would probably define most of what Bane does as outmaneuvering and coming up with superior military strategy, well, all of those still need great intelligence, so I still think this counts as outsmarting Batman. The Riddler. Now, the Riddler is one of Batman's smartest foes, so it does make sense for him to outsmart the Dark Knight. In fact, the only reason the Riddler can't truly beat Batman is because of his mental illness holding him back.
What's Eddie's problem?
Fanatic narcissism, egocentrism, and megalomania, crossed with severe obsessive compulsion.
But still, an intellect like the Riddler's can't be stopped. Well, it can, but it can't be stopped all of the time. So he has outsmarted Batman on several occasions. The first time occurs in Batman the Animated Series, in the very first battle between the Riddler and Batman.
My. Can we actually have a brain beneath that pointy cowl of ours? So tell me, have you brawn to match?
And in this episode we learn that Edward Nygma invented a hit video game, but he got no royalties for his hard work, whilst the company was making millions. And so when he tried to sue the company to get what he was owed, they fired him immediately and didn't give him a penny. And so a few years later he returns as the Riddler to get his revenge.
You think I want money? Not anymore. What I want now is you.
And so Riddler abducts the CEO of the company and traps him in a maze filled with deadly traps and riddles. Now, Batman and Robin do manage to make it through this, and they save the man from being executed. So you could argue that Batman defeats him, as he beats the Riddler's riddles. Well, sort of. I mean, he did kind of cheat a bit, but the Riddler was cheating as well, so all's fair in love and war. But you have to remember that the Riddler still managed to traumatize the hell out of his enemy, and then made a clean getaway.
Sorry, boys, but you'll never find me. I'm not even in the amusement park, and by the time you get out of the maze, I'll be out of the city.
And though his enemy isn't dead, like he originally intended, the Riddler still made one hell of an impression on him. And this guy is so terrified of the Riddler that he can't even sleep at night. And since what the Riddler was after was revenge, well, this may actually be the sweetest part of this for him. I mean, I personally believe killing in revenge is stupid. After all, a corpse can't feel pain. I mean, only the living can suffer. So it's much better to keep your victims alive so that they can be traumatized and in pain for longer. I mean, when they die, well, that all ends. There's no fear in death. All of us die. It's not a punishment. All you're doing is speeding it up a bit. So personally, I think it's best to let them live in agony, but hey, that's just me. That's just how I would do revenge if I was a villain. And in some respects, it's probably more messed up now that I think about it, but still, you gotta admit, it is a good way to get revenge. And the Riddler also managed to outsmart Batman in the film Batman Hush. In this, the Riddler pulled strings from the shadows and arranged for Batman to fight several opponents, including Poison Ivy and a mind-controlled Superman. And he even managed to crack Batman's skull so bad that he needed major surgery, and still, he almost died. And perhaps most impressively, he was able to work out that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And he did this purely by analysing their previous battles and interactions, something that only a few people have been able to do, and all of them have world-class intellects. And of course, you have to love the fact that all the Riddler really did in this was change his costume so that he was Hush, and Batman was all like, oh my god, who could this be? I'm so confused. Such a simple thing really, just changing costume, and it just never even occurred to him that it could be someone he already knew. I mean, I get it, I do, because there's a lot of villains, but still, it's such a simple way about manoeuvring someone. And of course, I do have to say that in the comics, Hush is actually Thomas Elliot, and obviously he's outsmarted Batman on many occasions. He's basically done everything I just said the Riddler did as well. So yeah, he does deserve to be mentioned, but I'm not going to go over it in any great detail. The Justice League Protocols. Now, there's a quote I love. A smart person knows what they know, but a genius knows what they don't know. And this simply means that you have to know your own limitations. You have to know what you can achieve and what you'll need help in order to achieve. And this was something that Vandal Savage fully recognised. He knew Batman was a tactical genius and had great respect for him and his intellect. And so rather than research ways to defeat the Justice League himself, he instead stole Batman's plans and used them against the Justice League. Which is actually very, very clever in fairness, as Batman's plans would undoubtedly be better than anything Vandal Savage could come up with. After all, Batman has the close proximity to the targets, and he literally knows everything about them. Although Vandal Savage didn't completely outsmart Batman, to be fair, as Batman did add a tracer in the plan's coding, so if anyone other than him accessed the plans, he'd be able to find them.
As you say, my encryption is formidable, but in the event that it ever was cracked...
You had a contingency plan.
When my files are decrypted, they call home.
Now, Justice League Doom is a very enjoyable movie, but in the comics, it's actually Ra's al Ghul who does all of this. And I actually think that him being the one doing it makes a bit more sense, as Ra's al Ghul knows and understands Batman on a deeper level than pretty much any other supervillain. which both means that he would be more likely to know the Batman would have such plans, and he would understand just how well thought out and valuable they would be, because he knows what a tactical genius Batman is. Whereas Vandal Savage knowing, well, it isn't impossible, it's still Vandal Savage, he still has his intelligence network and all of that, but he doesn't know Batman as well on a personal level, so it is a little bit of a stretch. And while some might say that this isn't so much outsmarting him as it is blindsiding him, well, you do have to remember that first, they have to work out Batman's real identity. I mean, yeah, they've already done that in the past, I know, but still, it's not easy. And then they have to work out that he even has the plans in the first place, and then, where does he keep them? How do I get them? How do I get into the Batcave? How do I get past Batman's security? What type of technology will I need? Is it digital? Is it not digital? Etc, etc. They've got to actually plan and know quite a bit in order to pull this off. And all of that's just to get hold of the plans. They then have to implement them. They have to find supervillains willing to do it. That part wouldn't be that difficult, I will admit. But they've then got to implement the plans, all without Batman realising that they're even gone. Because as soon as he knows they're gone, he'll know how to stop them, which is basically what does happen towards the end of the film. So I think that if someone can do the runaround on Batman this well, then it definitely counts as outsmarting him. And those are 5 times and 5 villains who have managed to outsmart Batman. Now, I know there are occasions where he's been outsmarted. In fact, these very same villains have actually managed to outsmart him on other occasions, as have others. But I think the ones that I have mentioned are some of the best. But if you have another favourite time that Batman was outsmarted, then please let us know in the comments, along with which one of the ones I've mentioned that you think is the best. And I'd just like to quickly remind everyone that we have some merchandise available on our store, and to say thanks to all of you who have donated to the Needle Mouse Productions page on Patreon. And as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.